For decades, many Holocaust survivors have been searching for long-lost loved ones. Many Jewish families were ripped apart during World War II. Some ended up being unable to find one another once the war ended, and others unknowingly emigrated to different countries across the world. And for years, there was no easy way to track one another down, leaving many stuck with the question of whether or not their family members had even survived. Well, now a new project in New York is on a mission to help those who are still searching find answers, all thanks to technology. The New York-based Center for Jewish History is launching the DNA Reunion Project, which offers free DNA kits to Holocaust survivors on the hunt for lost relatives. And joining us now to give us some background on how successful this initiative has been are the co-founders, Dr. Adina Newman and Jennifer Mendelsohn, both of whom are also genealogists themselves. So, I'm interested to hear what triggered you to start this initiative.
Well, I think both of us working in the Jewish genealogy space have seen the incredible power of DNA. I mean, everybody in genealogy, in all corners of genealogy, DNA can just be a miraculous tool for making connections between people when the paper trail is severed. And our community is particularly affected by that. And we just sort of put our heads together and thought, this is a technology that should be being used more widely by this community because it can do miraculous things.
Absolutely. I mean, we've heard of these reunions through 23andMe, through MyHeritage. How does the process work with you guys?
So basically what happens is you apply through the website, the Center for Jewish History. We have the DNA Reunion Project page, and you fill out a form. We go through all of the submissions, and I can tell you they're very overwhelming in reading them, but it's very powerful to read everyone's stories. And then we will be sending kits from the commercial DNA testing companies. And you will follow the way they ask for you to do the test and submit. And if you're looking for more information, we're hoping to have more education experiences like webinars, and we're hoping to take on a few cases ourselves to really bring families together.
So how many Holocaust survivors at this point have actually signed up for this service?
Well, we've gotten several hundred emails already, which is great. We're hoping to fill as many requests as possible. We also, need to appeal to the community. If this is an effort you would like to support, we welcome that because the demand has been overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm interested to hear about any success stories you have so far. I had a success story in my own family, actually, but it was it was partially due to DNA tests, but also just the discovery of a pendant at a concentration camp that actually connected me to over 100 family members that I didn't know existed because we had been separated in Germany during the Holocaust. So I want to hear some personal stories about people who have had success stories, certain Holocaust survivors who have perhaps been reunited with family members.
Yeah, so Jennifer and I have done this separately for a while, but together we were able to solve the case of Jackie Young, and there was a story about it in the Times of Israel. But basically, he was a child survivor in Theresienstadt, and he somehow miraculously survived and went to England. And he always had this longing once he found out the circumstances of his adoption, that he didn't know who his father was. And he was on a TV show, which is how we found him. And we thought, we think we can find your biological father for you. And he said, okay, here are my results, go for it. And we did. And we believe we located his biological father and reunited him with family that, he didn't know existed. They didn't know he existed. And it's been a really lovely reunion for him.
Now, I'm interested to know how many Holocaust survivors are even left at this point. Obviously, we know this is sadly a generation that is dying out. And how many people you think that these tests could potentially help?
Well, these tests could potentially help, anyone who takes them. We want to make clear that, we cannot guarantee that every single person takes a test will be reunited, with a long lost relative, meaning, that it will connect them to somebody who survived that they didn't know survived, but that's certainly possible. And we've seen it happen. But these tests can also illuminate family history. They can fill in gaps in family history. They may connect people to more distant cousins that they had no idea they had. Perhaps a survivor had grandparents or great-grandparents who had a sibling who emigrated to the US that nobody knew about. So these children and grandchildren may test. It's just an incredible way to give people closure and wholeness. We also hope to be doing education because there appears to be a gap in just teaching people how you track the fates of those who did not survive. But sometimes you're surprised. I worked on a case, a woman asked me, not a DNA case, just on paper, said, I always wondered what became of my mother's 4 cousins. And to make a very long story short, all 4 of them had survived and 2 of them were alive 4 years ago when we worked on this.
Is there any fear surrounding taking DNA tests? A lot of people are worried about that information perhaps being publicly displayed. Have you, come across any barriers in terms of getting Holocaust survivors from an older generation to even accept doing these types of tests in the first place?
So we're certainly not.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're certainly not in the business of coercing anyone to take a DNA test. In our community, we are genetic genealogists. We have our DNA on all the sites. I have my parents on all the sites. And, you have to really make sure you're informed and read the terms of service of any company. But we very much believe that the benefits outweigh any risks. The biggest risks really are finding something that you may not, be expecting in your results in our experience. So, we want everyone to feel comfortable with the decision, but we also want to raise awareness with how powerful that decision can be.
Well, this technology has really changed our world as we know it. Fascinating project. I'm really excited to hear more success stories from this. So if you guys are interested in funding, you know who to go to. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.